Hello, YouTube! Oh, it has been a month since I recorded and uploaded anything. And 2 months since I recorded the last chapter of Guardians of Magic. I can't help it, I'm lazy. Anyways, the reason I didn't record this chapter of Guardians of Magic sooner was because at the beginning of this chapter there's an awesome little, author's note thing, which is at the beginning of every chapter, but this one has a really good one. And I wanted to get Showerfolk and Goldpen, who is his, I guess, editor, to kind of read that bit because it's hilarious and I don't think that me reading it could do it justice. However, because that couldn't exactly happen, I'm just going to record this. Might be able to get them to do that at a later date. However, for now, I'm just going to read the chapter. So, without further ado, let's get started. Chapter 7. Getting the Elements. You're sure that this is the right way? Of course I'm sure, Pinkie Pie answered, the pink pony bouncing up and down. She had been leading them ever since they'd all left the ballroom, with the only change to the group being the departure of Coltonster. Apparently he had more important business to take care of. Canterlot Tower should be right about here. She stopped her bouncing directly in front of a pair of double doors, and Kyrie looked up. They were standing right in front of a tall white tower. Well, this sure looks like the place, Applejack said. She looked over at Sora with an anxious expression. Are you sure we should be trying to get the elements without the princess? Yeah, Rainbow Dash added. Princess Celestia did say that the elements were locked up with a spell only she could break. Kyrie snorted and rolled her eyes, humored. She pushed against the double doors and entered the room. A long hallway stood in front of her, and Kyrie had to pause for a few moments to stare ahead in wonder. A plush red carpet rolled down the entire length of the hall over the checkered marble floor. Tall windows let the light of the sun in opposite ends of Tall windows let the light of the sun in opposite others of stained glass, beautifully depicting murals that Kyrie was unsure the meaning of. There we go! That sentence wasn't so hard now, was it? Bouquets of flowers decorated every pillar, and at the far end underneath, banners and flanked by strong granite statues of unicorns in powerful poses that was what Kyrie took to be a door. It's the fourth paragraph, I'm screwing up horribly. Anyways, come on, Kyrie said, slowly entering the tower. Let's get these elements of yours. And let me get this drink of mine.
That was horrible.
No lemonade this time, just grape juice. Their hoof steps were muffled as the 7 ponies and the baby dragon slowly filed down the length of the tower. Kyrie couldn't keep herself from looking at the different stained glass murals as she passed them, and noticed that Sora kept his eyes forward on that doorway at the very end of the tower, kept within its elaborate golden frame. There was a shining sun right in its center and 6 white circles arrayed vertically on either side. I haven't been in here since we defeated Discord, Fluttershy murmured. Who is Discord? Kyrie asked. A real mean and crazy spirit of chaos and disharmony, Rainbow Dash snorted. Was sure that it was going to be Pinkie Pie who said that. Whatever. He made the weather go completely crazy. He made the weather absolutely terrifically wonderful, you mean? Pinkie Pie countered. Her mouth started to salivate. He made chocolate milk rain. Eternal chaos made chocolate rain, Dashie. Chocolate rain. Insert clip here.
Eternal chaos comes with chocolate rain, you guys. Chocolate rain!
But what about all of the animals? Fluttershy asked. Don't you remember what he did to Angel Bunny and his friends? They grew legs like deer. I'm pretty sure that deer aren't that much taller than ponies. Anyways, and don't forget that all the corn we had to farm popped into popcorn just out of the blue, Applejack added. Why was there corn at Sweet Apple Acres anyway? Rainbow Dash frowned. Why are we idly chatting about this anyway? I thought we were in a hurry to get the elements. Rarity stopped and gave Rainbow a patient look. We were, Dash, but now that these two darling Pegasi and their handsome friend have arrived to assist us, I do believe we can take some time to discuss what we've done with the elements of harmony in the past. In the past. No, in the past. Don't you agree? She pointed a hoof at one of the windows before Rainbow Dash could say anything else. That was him, the dreadful brute, she said, her hoof directed at a picture of a dragon-like creature holding marionette controllers above a Pegasus, Earth Pony, and Unicorn. He stole the elements and manipulated each of us against every pony else. He single-hoofedly tore our friendship apart. If it wasn't for Twilight, well, I'm sure that Equestria would still be in a state of disarray. More drink? And you'd still be thinking that big old rock was a bona fide diamond, Applejack mentioned. Tom is best rock. Rarity frowned as the farmer passed her. I thought we agreed never to speak of that again. You're the only pony who didn't want to talk about it, Rarity, Pinky giggled. It was funny, and I turned gray, she chortled. And Twilight had Spike take Rainbow Dash's place. The Cyan Pegasus stopped in her tracks and turned towards the baby dragon. You did what? You know, reading this chapter reminds me of how hilarious all of that was. It was epic but hilarious at the same time. Especially Tom. Spike gulped. I knew this wouldn't end well if she found out, he said. Well, Naminé said lightheartedly to Kairi, it looks like they've all got a healthy friendship. Kairi continued walking forward to catch up to Sora and loudly asked, what was that about if it wasn't for Twilight that you mentioned? Rainbow Dash turned away from Spike. Oh. And quickly flew to catch up to the two walking Pegasi at the front. There we go. Spike wiped his forehead in relief, as he did not want to deal with an angry Rainbow Dash. What Rarity meant was that if it wasn't for Twilight, we would never have gotten back together. Twi's the one who really brought all 6 of us together in the first place, Applejack said. She pointed at another one of the windows, showing the 6 ponies caging a black alicorn in a bubble of light. Back when Nightmare Moon escaped from the moon and brought everlasting night. Twilight was the only one who knew what was going on and how to fix things. We'd all met her earlier in the day, since she'd just shown up in Ponyville, and were more than happy to help her out. We'd all known each other before, Fluttershy added, but it was that first adventure that really brought us together as a group, and I've never been happier. Fluttershy is correct, Rarity said. Although we do have our disagreements from time to time, it has been a simply marvelous time together. Kairi nodded her head and nudged Sora slightly. He nudged back. Here we are, Pinky exclaimed. The procession stopped right in front of the door. Damn it, Redo, your bubble's blocking my scroll down thingy. Anyways. Yup, Applejack said. Here we are. The elements are kept right behind that door. However, Princess Celestia made it clear that she was the only one who could open it. Yeah, the only one who could open the lock. I get it, Kairi said. She flexed her forehoofs together, wishing that she had fingers to crack. She spotted a hole in the sun at the center of the door. Here we go. Alright, everybody. Blah, I was so expecting her to say everybody. Whatever. Alright, everybody, stand back. Why? Spike asked. Because I'm about to blow your frickin' minds, Kairi answered. Hell yeah! She raised her right foreleg and summoned the Oathkeeper right into her hoof. She gripped it tightly, still surprised that she was able to. Oh, damn it, redo, I'm recording! And pointed the keyblade right for the hole in the sun. A beam of light exited the Oathkeeper and filled the lock. Suddenly, the lines edging the sun filled with light continued on to fill the line, singing the door into 6 parts, and then the circles then lit up in sequence. The entire door flared with a burst of light and opened. Inside was a pedestal holding a beautiful blue and gold chest with jewels glittering all over it. You opened it, Fluttershy whispered. 1 second, more to drink. Then I'm going to take the time to answer Redo. Anyways, continuing on. Yes, I did, Kyrie answered proudly, dismissing her keyblade. The box became enveloped by a blue glow, and it floated over to them in a cloud of Rarity's magic. The unicorn peered longingly at the chest for more than a moment before she opened it. Inside were the 5 necklaces and golden tiara that were the elements of harmony. Rarity levitated each element out of the box and placed them upon their bearers. The red lightning bolt, element of loyalty, on Rainbow Dash. The jeweled butterfly, element of kindness, upon Fluttershy. The citrine, that's a word you don't see used often. Anyways, the citrine apple, element of honesty, to Applejack. The sapphire balloon, element of laughter, against Pinkie Pie's chest. And finally, the diamond, element of generosity, nestled gently over her own neck. Kyrie, would you be a dear and carry this in one of your saddlebags until we can find Twilight? She asked the Pegasus, levitating Twilight's tiara, element of magic, into the saddlebags before Kyrie could even answer. Sure, she answered anyway. Alright, every pony, Rainbow Dash announced while proudly puffing her chest forward. We've got the elements, now let's go find Twilight. I'm positive Rainbow Dash's eagle swells to Kaiba-like proportions every time she wears that. They turned around and started to leave, but stopped when they saw a lone figure standing in the doorway. More to drink. Come on, Twilight said, galloping through the streets with Riku in shining armor behind her. Canterlot Tower is this way. Inside are the elements of harmony. We'll get them and then head back to the party to give them to the others. Twilight, the elements are locked up with a spell only the princess can undo, Shining Armor reminded her. The entire royal guard knows that. What makes you think that we'll even be able to get them? The princess isn't the only one who can undo the spell, Twilight answered, glancing back at her older brother. She took me aside after we arrived and taught me the counter spell. Princess Celestia said the events may transpire after we'd questioned Riku and the others that would delay us in procuring the elements from the tower. So she left me with the decision on when we should get them, confident that we would be able to reach them. So you think that since more Heartless have shown up, now is the perfect time, Riku said. Twilight could tell that it wasn't a question, but she nodded anyway. Right. Canterlot Tower reached for the sky just ahead of them, its white walls shining in the sunlight. Twilight skidded to a stop, her eyes staring forward unblinkingly in shock. Her friends were all leaving the tower with the elements of harmony already around their necks. Standing next to them was... Shining Armor whinnied happily and trod past her stunned sister. God damn it. What happened to my ability to speak? It's like when I start recording these, I just spit it out on the first word. Anyways, there should probably be a count for how many times I say anyways in this, but I'm gonna be too lazy to edit that in. Cadence, what a surprise seeing you here. Shining Armor. And there, Shining Armor is spelled differently than it is spelled at the earlier points in the fic. Anyways, Shining Armor, the youthful pink alicorn said brightly. Pee-wee flying off of her shoulder where the phoenix hatchling had previously perched on the very topmost of Spike's spines. What are you doing here? Oh wait, never mind. Real guard business, right? I like how he mentions Pee-wee. Because, like, Pee-wee appeared in that one episode, and never again. Something like that, he replied, moving to stand right in front of her. Actually, my friend Riku here, my sister and I were just coming to pick up what looks like you've already nabbed. Your sister? Princess Cadence said excitedly. She looked past Shining Armor and saw the younger unicorn. Her wide smile left Riku stunned at how bright it was, and she took one great leap past Twilight's older brother, utilizing her wings to their fullest, to come close to Twilight's sparkle. Twilight! Hearing her old Fulsar call her name, Twilight snapped out of her stupor. A broad grin to match Cadence's overcame her face. Cadence! The pink alicorn landed, and suddenly the two of them had bent their legs to come close to the ground, eyes unblinkingly staring at each other with rampant excitement. And I'm just going to edit the rhyme thingy in now because, yeah, that'd be easier. So, insert here.
Sunshine, sunshine, ladybugs awake. Clap your hooves and do a little shake.
What was that all about? Sora asked Riku. He and Kairi leaving the tower with Twilight's other friends and staring at the spectacle of the two ponies laughing and embracing. Riku smirked. Cadence was Twilight's old babysitter, he answered. I really should log off Steam when I record these. Really? Rarity asked. She turned her head to the lavender unicorn. Her voice became almost a whine. Twilight, how come you never told us that a princess full sat you when you were little? I never thought it was that important, Rarity, Twilight answered, removing herself from her old Fulsitter's embrace. But Cadence isn't just my old Fulsitter anymore. She's going to be my new big sister. There was a moment of stunned silence from most of the group. Pinkie Pie was the only one who made any sort of noise, and that was a very exuberant, woohoo! Yay, Twilight! You the pony! Congratulations! Wait, how is she going to be your new big sister? Twilight laughed slightly to herself and sighed. One sec, getting another drink. Every pony, this is my BBBFF. Big brother, best friend forever. I'm sorry I had to. Feel free to smack me in the comment section for that. She clarified when nobody but Shining Armor and Cadence gave her looks of comprehension. Shining Armor. Shining Armor, these are my friends, Rainbow Dash, Applejack, Rarity, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, Sora, Kairi, and, she giggled, Pee-wee. The Phoenix Sapling... Blah! Not... PewDiePie isn't... Pee-wee! Pee-wee is not a tree. He's a hatchling, not a sapling. The Phoenix hatchling chirped. And no, the Pee-wee did not chirp all of that. Just finishing the paragraph. Anyways. It's nice to meet all of you, Shining Armor said with a bow. And even though you've apparently already met her, this is my lovely fiancée, Princess Mi Amore Cadenza, better known to her friends as Cadence. Oh, Pinkie Pie said. So that's how Cadence is going to be your sister, Twilight. Well, congrats then, Sora spoke up. Kairi nodded her head next to him. Oh yes, congratulations, Twilight, Shining Armor, Princess, Fluttershy said, nodding her head. I hope you'll both be very happy together. Thank you, Cadence answered, smiling. Yeah, grats, Twi, Rainbow Dash added. Yay, internet slang and ponies. Yes, congratulations, Twilight, Rarity agreed. I do hope that we will all receive invitations to the wedding. Oh, a royal wedding. What I wouldn't give to be able to attend. Riku nudged Shining Armor's flank to the side of his head. He pointed at Cadence. Way to pick him, Tiger! Shining Armor seemed very perturbed by Riku's choice of nickname. Sora and Kairi both snorted into their hoofs at the look on his face. This is one of the reasons why I love Sharfolk. I can just envision everything in this. So this is what was in the letter we got earlier this morning, Spike asked. Shining Armor here telling you that he was getting married? Yes, Twilight answered. Though since I was kept from reading the letter, I didn't find out until I met with him and my parents just a while ago. That's nice, Applejack said. She looked over at the couple, both of them smiling happy at all the congratulations Twilight's friends were giving them. So when's the wedding going down? There we go. Shining Armor rubbed the back of his head. We actually haven't set a date yet, but we're thinking about having it early spring. Rarity gasped. Spring! I heartily agree. Such a lovely season to get married in. But that's so far away, she added. Why, next spring won't be for another 6 months. Well, I'm not going to say anything because that'll just remind me of how long it's been since I recorded one of these and since this chapter was released. Anyways, the air back in home was already starting to get a little cooler. Cadence chuckled slightly. Well, this is going to be a wedding between royalty and the captain of the palace guard, after all. There's a lot of preparation that'll need to be done. It's not as though we can get all of that done within a week or two. Besides, we need to leave time for our guests to clear their own schedules and plan around attending. They'll have their hurdles to overcome, too. Shining Armor nodded. Also, even though Kane said yes only 2 days ago, considering what's been going on recently with the Heartless showing up and everything, I just know that Princess Celestia is going to be doing double duty, making sure that the castle and Camelot are protected. That job's going to keep me busy. What with the higher-ups pulling my stallions away from their post to go all over Equestria with the Pegasus guards, we'll practically be left without a token defense here. Well, I hope it's not too little, Kyrie said. The last thing we'd want is for our place, as beautiful as this, to be brought to ruin. More juice? Shining Armor laughed and gave the pink pony, that pink pony a confident smirk. Don't worry about that, Kyrie. After what I've seen, we'll be able to handle them no problem. Rarity looked up suddenly. Oh yes, I just remembered. She cleared her throat as her horn began to glow with blue light. Twilight, we got the set of Canterlot Tower for you. The tiara of the element of magic levitated out of Kyrie's saddlebags and into the air. Twilight grasped it from Rarity in her own magic's glow, and set down on her head. Thanks, Rarity, she said. We were just coming to get these since Princess Celestia taught me the counterspell earlier. How did you guys get your hands on them? Pinkie Pie laughed. With the Keyblade, of course, she said. Kyrie just may appear into her hoof in this big flash of light. Shing! And then she fired a laser beam right onto the vault door. Pwing! And then the door is all lit up and open for us. Whoosh! Oh, Pinkie Pie. Riku watched with amusement as Twilight looked at Kyrie in stunned wonder. He could only imagine the thoughts going through their head at the thoughts that the Keyblade could break through an impenetrable spell that her esteemed mentor had cast. Consider this, Sora told her. I once used the Keyblade to unlock a coliseum in the underworld that Zeus himself had locked away. Granted, I didn't know that's what I did when I saved Meg, but... Who's Zeus? Fluttershy asked. Riku frowned slightly. They didn't know who Almighty Zeus was? The Almighty Lord of the Heavens, King of the Gods, Lord of Thunder and Storms. His wife is Hera, goddess of women and marriage. And his older brother are Hades, the Lord of the Dead, and Poseidon. God of horses and master of the seas and oceans, Kyrie stated. Triton and Thetis are his vassals, along with Calypso, Circe, and the other sea god nymphs. There's other sea gods and nymphs, because nymphs and sea gods are not the same thing. Bleh. The entire Greek mythology rundown right there. The equestrian ponies and dragon were looking at the trio as though they'd all grown extra heads. I've never even heard of any of these ponies you're talking about, Twilight said. Sora stomped his hooves. They're not ponies, they're gods. He glanced upwards. And right now, I think our patron Poseidon's supposed to be watching over us. You and your native islanders can worship Poseidon all you want, Kairi said simply, poking Sora in the ribs playfully with the tip of her hoof. I worship Athena. You know that's a bad idea, Riku told her. Those two have been eternal rivals ever since Athens. Besides, Poseidon has a stronger connection to us now that we're ponies. Kairi hissed in a motherly manner, and she began to rummage through her saddlebags. Well, your Lord Poseidon sure didn't look after you earlier, she said. Her voice became muffled somewhat as her snout emerged from her white saddlebag with a grain jar clenched in her teeth. You've been scratched, I'm going to put the bottle in my mouth while I read this part so it sounds right. You will flash out right there. There we go. That plastic tastes weird. What? You mean these things? Riku asked, glancing at the scratches the soldier had impaled with his horn had already left on his body. I've had worse. And I haven't had a drink, which I should be doing. Kairi placed the ball on the ground and produced a different one. This one white, from her saddlebag, and put down next to the other. I know, she remarked disdainfully, but we're not letting those go untreated anyway. Come here. Ooh, what are these? Pinkie Pie asked, picking up the white bottle. That green one's a healing potion, and the white one there's ethanol, Riku answered, taking a step back. Nuh-uh, Kairi. These will heal fine on their own. You don't need to worry about them. Too late. Applejack, could you please hold him down? Now why would I want to do that? Applejack asked. Riku sucked in his breath from sudden pain, instantly regretting turning his head to look at the cow pony. Kairi was already at his withers, wiping at the scratches through his coat with a cloth swab so wet with the alcohol that it was almost dripping. Damn it, Kairi, he hissed. Stop it with your ninja heels. Kairi popped the potion bottle over his mouth, and a slightly vicious green liquid poured onto his tongue. Riku tried to spit it out, but Kairi clamped his mouth shut with her hooves. Don't be such a whiny baby, Riku, she scolded him whilst firmly keeping his mouth shut so he could not eject the potion. Now drink it and get it over with. I mean, like, if it's already in your mouth, might as well. I mean, yeah. Riku glowered mournfully at her, but swallowed anyway. Almost immediately, he could feel the potion start to take effect, signified by the sudden itchy feeling he was getting around the stinging scratches he'd taken. A couple of seconds later, the sensation was gone, and his body was feeling as well as it had ever had before. What was that about? Twilight asked as Kairi stepped back from the unicorn. Sora chuckled, and Riku sent him a death glare that he ignored. Potions taste like garbage, Sora answered. You know, in every video game, potions always like sting or taste horrible. Why can't someone like make a canon in which potions taste good? I mean, yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense for them to taste like crap, considering they're probably made from stuff that tastes like crap, but still. Continuing on. Several of the ponies laughed at his explanation and the faces Riku was pulling. Well, Applejack said after they'd calmed down, we've got the elements now. I reckon that we should head on back to Princess Celestia and figure out our next move. Me too, Fluttershy agreed. Rarity and Pinkie Pie nodded their heads. Then it's settled, declared Twilight. She turned away from the tower. Come on, every pony. You all go ahead, Cadence said. Your brother and I have some things we need to discuss. Well, all right then, Twilight replied. She started off and threw her head back over her shoulder. See you later. Luna yawned as she sat in the tree she had been sleeping in, watching as her older sister paced back and forth beneath the leafy green boughs. She was only partially frustrated with Celestia for waking her from her sleep, although she had at least gotten a good 4 hours of it. If she had been in her room instead of this wonderful tree, even less time would have passed for her to have enjoyed napping. Luna hummed to herself, settling deeper into the thick blankets and pillows she had expertly laid down upon the tree branch. I never would have thought that this would happen. It had to have happened eventually, Celestia said to the ground, still pacing beneath Luna's tree in the gardens. It has been thousands of years, my sister. Eventually, Unicorn had to have been chosen ever since we gave it up. That's not what I'm saying, Tia, Luna to her sister. What I meant was... Celestia sighed loudly. I know what you meant, Luna. For it to happen to Twilight Sparkle of all ponies. I had never thought to consider this as the reason for her immense magical power and talent. Though in hindsight it does bring everything into focus. How else could a foal have enough magical power within to hatch a dragon egg and immediately cause the hatchling to grow as tall as a tower? She stopped her pacing and slammed her head against the trunk of a tree next to Luna's. Celestia didn't even seem to feel her head striking it, but Luna figured that the tree had, with the way its trunk appeared to be close to snapping as it bent back. Bah. Grammar. How do? I should have realized it sooner, Celestia berated herself in a frustrated growl. A keeper of the art. A keeper of the art, Luna. The Midnight Diarch nodded her head in a more subdued way than the last 5 times she had done so. Celestia was getting far too worked up over this. Yes, a keeper of the art, as we once were. I'm glad that he actually referred to them as diarchs and not monarchs like most people seem to when they write fanfics. Celestia winced. I should have seen it from the start, she said bitterly. I should have been grooming her for what will come this entire time. Luna frowned and spread her wings. Celestia! The younger alicorn dropped down from her perch in the tree and stared up at her older sister's grieved face. This is not something you could have foreseen. Your prized pupil being revealed as a keeper of the art is not something that happens every millennium. No pony could have predicted it. I believe you even thought that Cadence, Rhymestone, Quiet Treble, Ruby Scales, and others from my blood were keepers at one point. Celestia shook her head as she slowly as it hung down. Blah! There needs to be some way that I can, stop my stumbling over my words when I read. I will admit that at first I did. You know that it is not often that we alicorns are born, dear sister, and so I suspected at first, but discovered eventually that it was not the case for any of your blood, and so I let the notion of Equestria bearing keepers of the art again slip. But we were keepers ourselves once, Luna, Celestia countered, finally raising her head to gaze down upon her younger sister. It is something that I should have seen in her. I remember what it was like to have such raw Bellinian power before the elements. Luna sighed. Celestia truly had gotten old. It was as if she was looking back fondly of those days in ages past when the two of them had been gardens. But yes, when they had been gardens. No, when they had been guardians, upholding the flow of magic in the universe. Tia, Luna tried once more, you must stop this. Berating yourself is useless. Now that we know, we must take action to guide her and Trixie upon the path they must tread. Their path has already been decided, Celestia admitted. They must go Soren and his friends. If they are gathering the keepers, then it means that something dreadful is going on amongst the worlds as a whole. Equestria has always seen relative peace amidst the turbulent forces of light and darkness across the realm of light, Luna. We know that. What we did not know, however, Luna said, was that we had the ability to use a Keyblade while we were them. That must be something new. Or something that we were not required to know or use, Celestia answered. Our magic had always been our weapon. We had no use of magic swords. Luna conceded that point with a sharp nod of her head. But Celestia, now that Twilight Sparkle knows that she is one of them, she must be told or the changes that... She must be told or the changes will come as a very real shock to her and Trixie. Twilight will be fine, Luna, Celestia said, though from her tone of voice, Luna could tell that her sister was still trying to convince herself of that. They should not begin to occur for another few months at least. Sora's business should have run its course by then, and Twilight will be back here. Damn, my throat got really dry and I didn't even notice. Sora's business should have run its course by then, and Twilight will be back here where we can inspect her and Trixie better. Luna wasn't entirely sure what to think of her sister's plan with keeping Twilight Sparkle in the dark about what will become of her. Then again, she had already been bombarded with quite a bit of information that day. So withholding a little more might help the unicorn hold on to her sanity a while longer. As you say, and we shall hope that you are right, have you any other plans for them? Celestia nodded her head, finally appearing somewhat calm. Yes, I have. I've already seen Canterlot's best jeweler, but she smiled somewhat. I was hoping that we could get the help of our finest smith as well. Luna couldn't keep the look of pride away from her face. You seek the aid of my talents, do you? They may be a little rusty, Celestia, after having been away from the forge for 1,000 years. Oh, things are about to get good. Celestia laughed. Come now, Luna. I'm not asking you to reforge the elements of harmony. But Twilight Sparkle and Trixie Lulumoon will be going into battle, and it will be comforting for them, and for me, if they were protected. Are the items thou art requesting to be part of their regalia as well? Luna asked. Celestia's nod was all that Luna needed to confirm her suspicions as to Celestia's intention. Luna could feel her excitement welling up. Whenever Luna's character gets excited in this, I always get so excited also. A smithing duty. She hadn't touched her forge in eons. The very thought was making her switch back to the old Iquish style of speaking. Very well then. Do we still have access to our forge, or shall we be forced to seize a mere commoner's place of work and tools? I reopened the hearth of the mountain earlier today, Celestia told her. It has been undisturbed since the nightmare took you from us. Luna nodded gratefully and smiled. This was going to wreak havoc upon her sleep cycle, but it would be well worth it. Thou shalt be responsible for raising and lowering the moon, and for keeping its light full. Thou must also allow us to utilize all the sun and moonlight that we require. We are also to have no cloud cover while we are working. Agreed, Celestia said with a nod of her hoof. Then thy orders shall be ready in 3 days and nights, if we can begin now, Luna reported. She spread her wings and took into the air. She laughed as the wind flowed through her mane and against her face. The pounding ring of hammer blows, the heat of her forge in the very heart of Mount Ponylon, the precious metals that would bend to her will. Luna got pleasant shudders from her withers to the very tips of her primaries at the thought. Hell yeah, Luna! Anyways, that's the end of the chapter. See you next time, guys, for chapter... One sec, need to get to the menu thingy. For chapter... Goddamn, where's the... Yes, here it is. For chapter 8, I believe. Course is laid. Anyways, see y'all next time.